Hey, fun fans! Coming up on this week of FRC Roundup, we're going to be taking a look at FRC Queue as an extension to a previous topic. Inflation causing issues for FRC teams and what they can do to save money ahead of next year's season. And a thread created by our guest Marshall on Chief Delphi talking about some items that should be in the kit of parts. All of this and more coming up on this edition of FRC Roundup, off-season edition.
Your destination for first content, updates, and gaming.
Welcome to the fun.
First Updates Now is supported by Stryker Careers. If you are a college student or recent graduate looking for an incredible internship, take a look at Stryker. Stryker provides a housing stipend, great pay, and an opportunity to work with state-of-the-art medical technology equipment. Discover why so many First alumni are coming to Stryker for their internship or career at careers.stryker.com. First Updates Now is supported by Kettering University. Kettering University hosts 3 co-op employment fairs each year for incoming and current students. Participating in the co-op employment process at Kettering is a great way to begin turning robotics experience into a professional career to earn money towards graduating debt-free. If you are a senior, it is not too late to apply at kettering.edu/apply.
All right, welcome back to the show. If you have not caught our show previously, this is a show that normally follows FRC Recap on Monday nights during the season, but we've extended FRC Roundup into the off season. This will be a monthly show where we take a look at anything hot in FRC, highlight some discussion points about events that may have happened, or anything that really correlates with FRC. If you, the fun community, think that there's a topic that we should discuss on FRC Roundup, please feel free to ping me on the fun Discord, and I'll be more than happy to take a look at it. If you guys aren't familiar with me, my name is Nick Mathis, and I'm currently in the 1st and Michigan region and was previously with Team 4130.
And I am Connor McBride, mentor from Team 166 Chop Shop and game announcer out of the New England District. Our guest tonight is Marshall Massengill from Team 900, the Zebracorns in the North Carolina District. Welcome to the show, Marshall.
Thank you guys for having me.
Yeah, no problem, Marshall. Before we get to our first topic, we did want to take a moment and recognize and remember a key member of the First family. Scott Liebert, who is a mentor on Team 2465 out of Hawaii, judge, CSA, founder of Kauai Labs, and creator of the NavX family of products, passed away last week. Marshall, I know that you and Scott went way back. Would you like to say a few words in remembrance of Scott?
Yeah, I think I was telling you guys before the show earlier. This hit me pretty hard yesterday when I found out. In fact, we were in our lab, and the person who alerted me to it's actually the one of the co-founders for Cross the Road Electronics. So Omar Zarian. So Omar and Scott and myself actually all met at championships forever ago, I think. And Omar, I think, was in shock just like I was. He asked me if I'd heard the news, and at that point I hadn't, but quickly went and checked things out, and it took a minute to kind of parse things. Still has. It's been sinking in all day. So Scott and I met just by sheer random coincidence of ordering a NavX way back in like 2015 or so, maybe early 2014, somewhere in there. And we'd ordered 2 of them, and he only sent us 1. And I had to call and ask a bunch of questions, and it was like the very start of, I think, Kauai Labs and what they were working on. And we got to talking, and lo and behold, there was some stuff we were doing with LabVIEW that he's like, I would really appreciate some help, and we were happy to do it because we were big into open source and wanting to contribute back to the larger community. And just everything happened to work out. It was one of those things, and I think he was extraordinarily grateful. In fact, the mentor at the time that did a lot of that work, he's now out in Seattle working for Amazon. I had to inform him yesterday, as well as some other mentors from 900 that are no longer on the team but are off doing other things in other parts of the world. And I think all of us were just sad. I mean, it's heartbreaking to lose anybody, let alone somebody who's contributed so much. I think Scott genuinely kind of reshaped the landscape for what we expect from IMUs within FRC, and brought about a bunch of change as a result of that, and has enabled just tons of cool navigation type stuff on the field. So yeah, it hit me pretty hard. Yeah. So Scott, wherever you are, man, miss you.
Yeah, thanks for that, Marshall. Appreciate it. All right, so with that being said, we're going to go ahead and jump into our first topic tonight, and that's going to be taking a look at FRC Queue. So I know previously, Connor and I in a previous show had taken a look at the discussion of queuing in general and some other volunteer positions, but recently FRC Queue was released and was asking for essentially a couple of pilots for off seasons events, and it's essentially a program that allows the lead queuer to use an interactive program, and then from there would obviously be able to relate to teams and have them sign up to get immediate texts on when they're actually needed on the field and see true positioning of where they're at. So, in my opinion, I was super excited to see this. I actually haven't really seen an interactive format like this, although looking into the thread, it seems like this is possibly done a couple years ago and kind of dizzled off, but it sounds like this one's a big hit. And I would really like to see it. I would want, one of the previous shows, I was a pretty big proponent of having the option to have a team be able to sign up and get text updates as queuing would go on, and I think that allows us to do that. So it sounds like they have had people reach out, and he's got, or the owner of the company has a lot of interest from off seasons, and more trials than he was expecting to run are going to happen. So hopefully they'll be able to run at least 3 trials this year and work out some friction points, and hopefully try and get it possibly implemented for the 2023 season. So Connor, we'll go ahead to you and then jump to Marshall after that.
I am really, really excited about this. So I haven't actually requested this for our off-season event, but I plan on emailing them about using it for 166's off-season event, Mayhem and Merrimack, September 24th, by the way. Sign-ups are July 1st. Little plug there. So my team has fallen victim to poor queuing in the past, so to say. I don't necessarily want to say poor queuing, but I guess that's kind of how it is. So like it's perfect that we're actually talking about this topic, because this was one of our discussion points last month on the show when we had Ryan on.
Yeah.
I'll kind of go over a couple of the stories that we talked about in the last show. At Pine Tree, there were 3 queuers. There was the lead queuer, and then they had a queuer on each side of the field for each alliance. So they weren't sending anyone to the pits to go and queue teams. Granted, there were only 25 teams at the event, and the pits to the field were maybe 200 to 300 feet. So like we could hear everything. We were all we're in a field house essentially. So we're able to see and hear everything, and it was pretty easy to be able to queue ourselves. But like for example, in Houston at the championship, we didn't have anyone coming around to queue us for our matches, and that can be really hard when you have to go walk 5,000 miles
Oh
uphill
yeah.
both ways in the snow. Um, we were fortunate that it was either 115 or 114 were right next to us in the pits, and they had a TV and they were streaming the Newton field, so we were able to keep track of like what match we were on by that. But to be able to have some kind of pager like this, like FRC Queue, I think is super, super helpful. I'm really curious to see what the feedback is from other events that end up using this as kind of like I don't want to say test monkeys, but like this is
Yeah.
they're the trial stages. I can I can see in some ways that this could be an issue during regular season events, depending upon what venues are being used for what.
Hmm.
For example, WPI. Uh, there's a district qualifying event there. Sometimes it's district champs, and then we have Battle Cry, which was a few weeks ago. Um, Having that would be super helpful for how many teams there are. But the downside is that there is very, very little cell service, if any, in the pits. The pits are like surrounded by like a foot and a half thick walls of concrete. So you're kind of roaming for data the entire time. It's best to throw your phone into airplane mode. So the effectiveness to be able to use the app at that point is a little slim to none, depending. So you'd kind of have to like walk outside, or I know some places are in schools, so some might have like a cell block going
Right.
on there. But I think I think it's safe to say 75 to 80% of FRC venues throughout regular season won't have that problem, because most of them are still kind of like in regionals format. So it's a lot of like universities and arenas and stuff like that. So I'm really curious to see how this works, and I'm really hoping my off season event can be one of those can be part of the pilot program.
Yeah, just a caveat to that. I know you'd mentioned universities, but I mean, Tyler knows at MSC there is zero cell service in the entire place. So,
Really?
yeah, and I could be, I'm almost positive that there's a specific cell jammer they put up actually in the arena because obviously there's 4 fields going on with one
Really?
proximity. So, but yeah, Marshall, what do
Right.
you think going overall on FRCQ?
Man, I'm a simple mentor from Eastern North Carolina. You guys keep saying Q, and I just want some vinegar barbecue. That's all I got, man. That's it. Um, No, you know what? I think it's about time we had something like this. I
Yeah.
really think I think it was either Copioli or JVN or somebody made some comment forever ago about how we ought to be using those restaurant queuing systems
Yeah,
to like
Yep.
alert teams, and I'm all for it. Like, I don't know, give I think it gives more control to the teams. I think it also enables the volunteers to be more effective with the time they've got and
for
not
sure.
have to go hunt down everybody. And I don't know, it makes the teams more responsible in the long run, which I think hopefully that's what we're all here for, is
Yeah.
trying to turn high schoolers into adults,
Yep.
yeah, or adults into high schoolers. I don't know. But you know, I think it's what we need. Like, I think more of this is good. I'm super excited that it was like a very well done, well polished website and
Yeah,
listed.
very
It's what you would
professional.
expect. Yeah, it's what you would expect from a professional product, which I think is really cool. So
Mhm.
hopefully some off seasons will try it out, get them some feedback, and we can learn from mistakes and issues and make it better and figure out how to take it forward. So
Yeah, Tyler, you had a couple
Base
things to add. Oh,
real,
sorry,
real,
I didn't mean
real,
to cut
real
you off.
quick, based off the screenshots on their website, it looks pretty professional too, which is
yeah.
which is really what caught my eye there. So
Well, I mean, how a product looks in screenshot might be very different than how it truly
true.
appears,
Yeah.
but
Oh,
we'll see.
hey man.
Proof of concept only goes so far sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah, so a couple things just want to bring up as Nick alluded to a little bit. We actually did reach out to Evan who created this as well too. So just a couple things from him about it. First off, if you're not familiar with Evan, he's the one who created divisions.co. So if you use that
Oh, I did not
at
know
all,
that.
same person for that, which is really cool
That
as
website's
well.
awesome.
Yeah. So and as you mentioned as well, more off-season events than what he was even planning on doing have already reached out to pilot this, which I think is really cool to have that interest for it as well. Just a couple notes from him in regards to it. He says lead queuers are given full control over the queuing process to ensure accurate information is communicated with teams. The interface is also designed to be very easy to use. Queuers just have to tap a button, and all teams in the upcoming match will receive a text message in seconds, which I think, from interface wise, seems really cool on there. And I'd love to hear from live chat any feedback that you think about this as well too. One other thing, that says queuers do more than just call teams to matches. An FRC queue will support a lot of additional functionality, as well as his favorite, at least right now, is to support for entering in filler teams during practice matches that
That's
automatically
pretty sweet.
handshakes with FMS as well, which I think is kind of cool for getting that in. One other thing I just want to quickly comment on. So we post fun posts in a lot of different venues and mediums, right? Which has a lot of different types of people in FRC, and I think posting this on Chief Delphi when Evan posts this, I think it's had a positive reception to it. I will say though, posting on like social media, for example, Facebook, which tends to be like I run the First Robotics Facebook group, for example, and of course on Fun's page, the reception hasn't been as warm. Which actually very surprised me on that. A lot of just like, hey, what if there is no cell phone? What if things just don't work?
It's
There's a
better
lot
than
of
having
technology
nothing.
issues. Yeah, and I'm not
Yeah.
saying that's my opinion necessarily,
Right?
but
No, I
I
know.
have to admit I was a little surprised to hear that as well from this program.
Literally,
Darn,
just give
we
it the
get
program.
well, but it's we get some tech. Wait a minute, we get some technology involved in the process that, in theory, makes the current paper-based process a little more resilient.
Yeah,
I don't think that's bad. Like,
yeah, I
what's
agree.
the
Yeah.
worst case? They still have to go around, and now they have a tablet instead of a clipboard. Like, I don't
Right.
know. I don't think that's the end of the world. I'll be honest.
Yeah, totally agree.
Yeah.
Looking at a couple things from chat here. Forgive me, I'm gonna butcher this, but NLSNGRN, I don't even know how you pronounce that, but maybe PQers, PQ helpers can help teams just using the program at least for the first year. Not a bad idea. And then iSvar. God, I'm so bad at names. Perhaps dedicated devices instead of relying on phones would be a better solution in the long run. So I think that kind of relates to the restaurant buzzer actually as well in that sense. But um, yeah, any other last thoughts before we move on to topic 2?
I want it.
Yeah, I agree. So before we actually move on to topic 2, we're going to go ahead and bring Tyler back on to talk about our friends from Stryker.
Yeah, actually, we're just going to show a quick video, a little bit more about Stryker careers and their culture. And if you're interested, co-ops internships are going to be starting up in the fall very soon. So make sure you check them out at careers.stryker.com. And of course, if you're looking for a job out of college or you're a seasoned professional, take a look at Stryker. And here's a little more about them.
I love working for Stryker.
I'm genuinely excited to come to work every day.
The minute you walk through that door, you know you are part of something special.
We support each other and look out for each other.
I love Stryker because we are like a family.
At Stryker, I own my career.
There are so many different places Stryker can take me in the next 5 years.
Noi crediamo che quello che facciamo è molto importante.
Together,
With our
Customers.
We are driven
To make
healthcare better.
Great people with a strong mission and values can accomplish great things together.
All right, welcome back. Gonna be jumping into topic 2, and we're gonna be kind of focusing on, unfortunately, the inevitable. Obviously, inflation is going up, and with that, unfortunately, our FRC parts prices are also going to be increasing too. So we're going to be kind of highlighting what some teams can do to maybe save some money ahead of build season, and kind of go from there. So, a couple of my things that I had looked into, obviously stuff raises pricing from year to year, has been the past couple years before it really taken the hike post COVID. And I know looking at Marshall's comment in this thread, guy, cry, laugh, cry some more. But just looking at like a price of an 8x4 sheet of polycarbonate last year to now, it's like almost $150 difference, even with the discount that we used to get when I was with 4130. And the two biggest things that I have that I can recommend to teams is, if you can, try and not buy your product from the big box store like Home Depot or Lowe's or anything like that. And I love Home Depot. I'm a proponent of Home Depot, but um, I often found being able to get, like, specifically like Home Depot sells polycarbonate, and I don't know if they sell an 8x4 sheet of it, but when I reached out to like the local plastics dealer in the small town of Richmond that I live in that has 6,000 people, they were able to get it for not even what they pay for it, a little bit more what they pay for it, and it was still half the price of what Home Depot was. So if you can, maybe reach out to a couple of the local suppliers that you have. I know they're probably also struggling with, post-pandemic and post-pandemic. I'm gonna stay like we're in post-pandemic, but the pandemic, and taking a look at, even them trying to deal with, the increasing cost and trying to keep customers with stuff increasing. So, they can always use your help with that. And then the other thing too, as well, is the biggest thing that I can say right now is, we can kind of hit on this, and Marshall, I'll go to you after this, but buy it now while you can, because it's probably going up before January. So, if you can, go out, fundraise, get as much stuff as you can right now. Like, if you're going to be using Falcons, if you're going to be using polycarb, you're going to be using an aluminum stock tube, buy it all before school goes back into session, because it's probably going to keep going up. So, Marshall, go ahead and throw it to you.
If you can find Falcons, I
Sure, you can't even find Falcons right now.
I would love.
Let me know where you found them.
I would love to know where. No, in general, I think the thing to keep in mind is, if you can buy it now, buy it now. Yeah, no, I don't have great solutions to this problem. I'm really hoping that at the very least they will consider doing something about COTS computing devices in the rules, as I have asked for, I don't know, the last 4 years or so, to have that cost limit increased to something more reasonable, and not tying it to everything else or whatever it is they want to do. I'm only a little bit frustrated by that, I promise. But I really hope they'll consider that. I will point out that this amused me to no end this past year. The rules were written, and I think they increased the limit to like $600 or something. Technically, the kit of parts chassis is now like $700, and I suspect that's going to go up too, which is hysterical to me. It's like, okay, we're clearly like the rules aren't even keeping track of what the actual cost. Like, I get what you're trying to do, and I admire wanting to keep everything on a level playing field and whatever, but I'm sorry, like the best part to me, we bought. I'm not gonna. Better yet, because they're so rare and hard to come by right now. A Jetson Xavier NX is like it's gold for the moment. Um, there are teams that are coming about now that are like, we really want to do vision or whatever. Where do we find these things? You can't, and I don't know what to tell you. I have no answers. So my personal opinion is that First Headquarters needs to update the rules to make COTS computing devices into their whole own thing, or just remove the for the moment remove the price limit and see what happens. I don't think anybody's going to stick a data center on a robot legitimately, even 900, to try and work around something. Like, it's not conceivable with the battery power we have and everything else. But that aside, like, deal with it. I don't know. I don't have an answer for this. It's a crappy situation for everybody. Mentors, if you're listening to, you need to budget for it. We had to go through some budget stuff recently, and I basically said double it for next year. And I was told that's crazy. That's now more than the entire department budget. And I said, what are you talking about? We are part of the department. But regardless, it's a lot of money. There's not much choice though. Like, that's what materials are going to cost. So get ready now. Maybe find teams that have folded in the last, like, COVID took out, I don't know, 1,000 something teams from FRC. What happened to all their stuff? Like, there's a lot of Robo Rios and probably some Falcons and Neos floating around out there in the wild. Where are they? They didn't just disappear. So I'm guessing all of that is available if you know how to look for it and find it. And those are things you should probably be considering now. So
yeah, totally agree. Connor, what do you think?
Yeah. So I know, at least for the inflation, what 166 is doing a little bit. We for our off-season event, normally we price it out for $175 per team. We did a slight increase to 25, an extra $25, so $200 in total. So it's an extra $575 for the 23 teams plus us that are competing. So, like, overall for the teams that will go, it's not a whole lot, but that at least gives us like an extra $575 to throw towards raw material for the season, or even like sometimes we get our field from First Headquarters, so to be able to like pay for the pods or the box truck or whatever, that even goes a long way for itself. I know we've started to within the past few years is get brand new sets of batteries every year, and then once that season is over, use those as practice batteries, and then retire them the year after. So it might even have to go down to biting the bullet and reusing some batteries from year to year, just to be able to save on costs for that. Fortunately for us, with our water jet sponsor, we get most of our sheet aluminum and polycarbonate for free.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, we luck out huge there.
Buy those guys a pizza party, man.
We buy that guy a 30 rack and
take care of him.
You're set. Oh yeah, for sure.
Always tip the second shift machinist, man. Always.
Exactly. But yeah, so even some of the COT stuff, like, I would imagine, I haven't really dug a whole lot into seeing any kind of price increase on like Vex Pro or West Coast Products or Rev, but I would imagine that some stuff has started to go up. And be comfortable using, if you can't go and buy Falcons, be comfortable using some other motors. I know what I've always gotten from some crap from some of my friends is, why don't you guys use Falcons? You guys use Neos? And I go, well, there's two reasons. One, lack of QA problems, and two, they're in stock. So
Well, so forget that for a second. I'm going to mention something else. If you're dead set on the CTRE ecosystem from a programming standpoint, there are still many sims and sims available to you. Do they weigh
Oh yeah.
more? Yes. Are they slightly less powerful? Yes. Can they still lift your robot in less than a second or two? Yes. Gear them appropriately.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
by the way,
readily available.
it works with the Talon SRXs, which you probably already have. Go scavenge them and use them again. It's okay. Reuse
Right.
components.
Yeah.
And for that, I'm sure there's a lot of teams in your area like that. We're talking 2018 and prior that have a lot of that stuff. I'm sure they would be happy to part way with. Like we probably got about 30 to 40 Neos
I would say,
stacked up in our shop from like back to like 03, 04. I'm sure we can throw anyone like a few of them here and there. Like,
yeah.
yeah.
Exactly. I don't know. Don't rule out brushed motors. Like they're not completely dead. Like I don't know. Don't be
Yeah.
afraid of them.
I agree.
We use them for many years. It's gonna
Mhm.
be okay if you have to use one. Trust me.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome from chat made a great point too. You can't even find a Raspberry Pi 4 for a reasonable price right now. I know, like,
Yeah.
just a quick search on Google, $195 on Amazon for a Raspberry Pi 4. When
Wow.
a year and a half ago, I was working with a company that uses a Raspberry Pi 4 as the computing device for a industrial robot, and we were paying like $32 a piece for them.
Yeah.
So that is absolutely insane. Yeah, look at that. That was exactly what I had, Tyler. $195 for a Raspberry Pi
It's
4
insane.
Model B. Like, that is insane. Crazy. Absolutely crazy. Ooh,
Well, you can get it, but
$30 protection plan.
you get
That's
that
where it's at,
$30.
baby.
I hope that works for FRC robots. I dude,
Anything else to add before we jump to the next topic?
One thing quickly I just want to mention is I will agree is talking to suppliers that they are also forecasting for a lot of what's been talking about too. So it definitely goes all the way up the supply chain, and you will be seeing it as the end user or as a consumer.
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
You're
know we
trust me.
go ahead.
No, you're gonna see it. You can't avoid it right now. So like I
Yeah.
said, my only hope is that maybe, just maybe, they will enhance the rules to enable the use of alternative COTS computing devices. That while still expensive and a little bit more than $700, they're perfectly functional and equivalent in most ways. So anyway,
Be ready to do more fundraising for your team and try and go around to get more sponsors. Even if you're going around town to like local businesses, if you can get like $100 or $200 there, just like small sponsors, I can't tell you how much that adds up.
Oh, it
So
does.
like I'm an Eagle Scout, and when I was selling tickets for my pancake breakfast fundraiser for my project, when I sat outside of Tractor Supply, how many $1 or $2 or $3 donations that I got, and like you don't think about it for like because it's like, oh, it's just like $1, but like it adds up. So if you can be able to like any kind of donation that you can do, or like a GoFundMe or whatever, like think of like new and creative ways to be able to get funding into your team account. You're going to need it this year for sure.
Yep. And meanwhile, First is raising the registration fee to 6,000, but that's a topic for another
Yo,
time. So
maybe next month.
yeah. Before we jump into our final topic, we're going to go ahead and bring Tyler back on to talk about Fun's continued sponsor, Kettering University.
Yeah, Kettering University, we've talked a lot about like their first center and their esports leagues and cool stuff to do, but I want to just talk about for those looking to go to college, Kettering University, a few things. They're keeping tuition to their 2019-2020 rate, which is awesome. So if you're looking at learning more about Kettering University, they have their Bulldog preview days coming up very soon. Go on their website, kettering.edu, and you can attend that in summer. And as well, if you're looking to go to a great event, Kettering Kickoff will be in September as well, too, where you can get a great taste of Kettering University. The awesome district event that happens there is a fantastic event, too. And the Kettering Kickoff event is a great preview for those workshops. So open houses and more at kettering.edu. Check them out if you're looking for a great school to go to, where a lot of people, over 30% of people who attend there, we're in competitive high school robotics.
Yeah, also worth noting too, I believe Kettering is actually the only university in the state of Michigan that is keeping their tuition rates. Everybody else has raised them, so good for Kettering on that part to try and help us out. But third and final topic, we're going to be taking a look at a thread that Marshall actually had created, which is looking at the items that are sub $5 that are not in the kit of parts that should be. This is one of my all-time favorite threads of the year, to be honest with you. And the discussion that came from it was absolutely awesome, and just the constant, posts of different things being listed and whatnot. So, Marshall, we'll go ahead and just kind of throw it to you and walk us through the idea behind putting the thread together and what ended up
Yeah.
coming out of it.
So at district championships this year, Chris Rake, who's now COO for First, he came down, and he's actually a North Carolina native, or was before moving up to New Hampshire. And anyway, Chris and I got into a conversation about things to improve the team experience, and I specifically, one of the things we were talking about while there is the electrical system, particularly the main breaker. There are these little star nuts that come with it, and it's not that they're bad. They work great if you're on a boat, or maybe putting it in a car that's not undergoing a lot of crazy high vibrations, and you're maybe putting it on a wall somewhere or something. Like, it's fine. On an FRC robot, no.
Not fine.
Just no. I no. Like, there's a reason nylon lock nuts are a device that is very useful, fastener type that is extraordinarily useful. It's what you should be using for the main breaker. And if you can get away with it, forget the little funny, goofy split lock washers and everything else. Go straight for Nord locks as the preferred methodology for securing those things down and making sure they do not move. Um, I I can't tell you how many times I've seen it bite teams over and over and over, loose cable there, and it ends a match. And it doesn't end it in a, like, it's never a fun way to end a match. Like, not that
No.
electrical problems in general are fun, but like, it's not novel, it's not unique, it's the same thing everybody
Right.
sees. And the FTAs will come over and tell you, your battery voltage was low for a part of the match, and like, the battery was fine. We changed it. We did the beak on it and everything. It was fine. And no, it's your main breaker wire. It's loose. So I don't know. It seems like something they should include in the kit, in my opinion. Like a couple of quarter 24 lock nuts or M6 or whatever. Like, or make
Yeah.
them on first choice, or tell teams about them in some way. I don't know. It just seems like something that's pennies compared to the team experience of having a failed robot for no good reason. The other thing that I specifically would love to see, Vex or IFI, the donation that they normally do was not there this year. I don't know that that's on them, but uh, what I can say is that I missed the little pack of stickers with the main breaker sticker and like the
Oh yeah.
pressure release valve and everything. I feel like those ought to just be included. Like, it's a couple of vinyl stickers, it's a couple of bucks. Like, for it's not even a couple of bucks. It's, again,
No.
pennies.
Yeah.
Like, pennies for the 5,000 or whatever teams, or however many there are now. I don't know, 3,000 teams. Like, it's pennies to include them in the kit, and like, brand them with the First logo. Like, slap that on there. Get that branding out there. Let's get it
Right.
on everything. But like, you know, I don't get it. Like, these are things that I feel like really ought to be there. The other, what was the other thing that came up? So we get every year in the kit of parts, we get the little poster that's got like, thanks for being an alumni from the program or whatever now, and like, here's all your scholarship information. That's wonderful. It's useful information. It's great. Like, include a QR code, whatever. But like, why not also throw something on there, like a nut and bolt size chart or something I want to
Yeah.
keep in a lab? Like, I have limited wall space, and most of it's taken up by first junk that we have to keep, like all the old sim motors, because inflation. And for
Right.
whatever reason, like, if we're gonna put up a poster, it better be meaningful and have something to it other than, here's where you go for scholarship information, when I can just tell them, go to the First website and look for scholarships. Like,
Right.
I need something more to include it up in the lab, so make it happen. Like, I don't know. I feel like there's a whole range of stuff that's in the kit that's like less than $5, and it's not there. Like, one of the cool things that I think was included a couple years ago, the WPI lib team. So WPI lib, for those who are wrong. Um, the WPI lib folks, they included a thing that was like all the WPI lib projects, and it's like a magnet, and it's one of the coolest things. We have it on our like whiteboard in the lab, and it's got all the little projects on it and stuff, and I can point to it and I talk to it because it's got all the links for everything, and it's cool to have that and have it available for students to look at and stuff. And I think it's great because it serves as a reminder, like, hey, like, if you haven't considered WPI, maybe you should. Like, they are
Right.
supporting programs like this and doing cool open source stuff and cool robot stuff. So So like it's things like that that I want more of, like a lot more. I I I don't know. That's me. What do you guys think?
Yeah, so I'll kind of start it. I guess my biggest thing, and I've been a pretty big proponent of this for a while, but in at least in the rookie kit, and maybe it's been a while since I was a rookie, so maybe it's gotten upgraded since then. But if I'm correct, that in either of kit there is not like a basic Allen wrench set in either of the kits, and maybe there is in the rookie kit now, but I don't remember. I don't recall there being one. I know that I think there's some Allen wrenches that come with the kit of parts, but don't quote me on that. I'm 100% sure. But regardless, like an Allen wrench is probably the single most used tool in FRC outside of like a basic socket set. That's we got to have that in the kit of parts. That's kind of where I'm at with that. Um, the other thing that really comes to mind for me, and I don't remember if it was in the kit this year. I know it used to be in the kit a couple years ago, and again, this is a Vex thing, but identifying those flippin' gear sets in the planetaries is the most difficult
Mm.
thing if you do not have a direct diagram with it. And Vex used to, and when I was a student, you'd get this giant poster that was like, I don't know, like 3 feet long by
Yeah.
2 feet, and it had every gear set blown up. So I could just take the sun gear off and go count, bing, 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 bing. Okay, this is a 3-to-1. Put it down, put it in a bag, Sharpie it, and make sure it stays there. And I didn't think we got that this year, and I think that was a pretty unfortunate. But you know,
Um,
it's
I will say like that problem went away for us completely this year with the Max Planetary
right.
system. Like,
Yeah,
oh my god,
sealed,
what
labeled.
a
Yeah, I've heard great things about
abs!
the Max
I
Planetary.
just I'm in love. I need more of that in my life. Is what we need. Like I love the sealed system, the fact that it was labeled.
Yeah,
So I did get yelled at by Greg for putting more grease inside the thing, or maybe it was Eric. I don't know, but like they do come with grease, but we added more because that's what we're used to doing basically.
right.
But it's a fantastic system overall, and I don't know, saved me headache there. But yeah, the thread had a lot of great suggestions. There were a couple that I was like, maybe people don't know what all is in the kit apart. Somebody was like, we ought to have electrical tape, and I'm like, I'm pretty sure there is red and black electrical
First
tape in every
choice
kit.
and in the kit.
So yeah.
Yep.
I'm pretty sure it's there because I think we end up with more of it in the lab every year, and I'm like, I don't know what
Right.
to do with this. We don't like it's really funny. I think there are teams who probably they use nothing but electrical tape for connections and securing them. We're like full on heat shrink for most things, and if we absolutely had to use it, we would, but we just don't. Like it's not something we need a lot of.
Yeah.
So, but I don't know. Just I think in general the kit is fantastic. It would be nice to see a few things that are kind of low hanging fruit to improve the overall team experience. So simple things that a lot of teams are already doing. It'd just be nice to include it in the kit and hand it to them and say, here, this is part of this. So
Yeah.
Yeah,
Totally agree.
absolutely. So I'm gonna jump around a little bit here.
Okay.
So I always think that zip ties are always a nice one to have. You can never have too many, in my opinion. I completely forgot that this existed. What Karthik had posted in the thread about the NASA
Oh
Robotics
yeah.
Alliance project. I
Hmm.
totally forgot that was a thing, and I think when it came out, it was like 2015. It's been updated since then. So when I saw that post, I actually decided to stop working during the workday at my desk and read through it. And how much stuff I even learned just going through it. I would look. I mean, yes, it's digital, and you can just be like, oh, like here it is. But I can't think of how many teams that just aren't as in tune with the community as we are. Even people on Chief Delphi or people who follow first on social media, stuff like that, will even like think about this or be like, I've never known that this existed.
Yeah, it's a
If that's
pretty
something
long
that
document too.
there is like 200 plus pages or something,
Wild.
it's insane. Um,
Print that off
and
and put that in the rookie kit.
yeah, speaking of rookie kit, because that's actually where I was going to go.
Oh, perfect.
This isn't a $5 item, but I truly believe that this should be in here. It should be a battery beak.
Oh,
Um,
100% agree.
yeah, I know it's $80 on AndyMark, but And that's one of those other things of I can't believe how many teams I've seen each season have problems with dead batteries. They bring their robot to the field, and then boom, there's $500 right there in your match that you just lost because you didn't check your battery or you accidentally left in an old battery. That's where I like to. Those are so important. We have two different battery chargers. We keep one on each one. Just so that if for some reason one of them goes missing, boom, there's a backup. And even if that never gets added to the kit of parts, I recommend buying one, if not two. And looking through the kit of parts, this one mind boggles me. From the Grey Tote this past year in 2022, there was one Neo motor, but there were two Spark Max motor controllers, which doesn't. I don't understand that too much. I mean, sure, like if one motor control, if you brick one of them or something like that, then you can swap out for another. But it would make more sense if it's 1 and 1, or in this case 2 and 2, because the motor controller is $80 versus a $45 motor.
Well, you can use the Spark Max for doing brush motor control, which I think is like it's again another reason to go back and use maybe motor controllers we've all forgotten about. But like I kind of with you. Like there should have maybe been another motor there. I don't know. So I'm sure there's some financial reason they couldn't. Like they were recovering from COVID, like everybody was.
Yeah.
But maybe that'll get changed. I have a feeling we're due for a brushless upgrade for something. Maybe it was. Maybe it won't happen because of supply constraints. I don't know, but I could see it happening for a lot of rookies. It seems like something that's probably been in the works for a while.
Yeah. With all the buyback programs, so like with Rev's buyback program, I find it a little hard to believe that there would be a new motor, but hey, you never know.
Yeah. No, it's funny. We were talking about it earlier. Like one of the things that I think didn't come up, and for good reason, the buyback program right now with FTC, there's a shortage of all the FTC components.
Oh yeah, I
that
didn't
they
forget
need.
about that.
So like my normal, not so flippant but realistic suggestion of a lot of FRC teams, particularly in their first year, really ought to be doing FTC so they can at least understand culturally how all this stuff comes together and what needs to happen and have some experience of what we're doing. Even though I realize it's a very different program. I'm not saying they're the same. That's not it. But that suggestion doesn't really work. So, I mean, FTC is less money and it's less resources, but at the same time, like when you can't get stuff because the shortages are so real, like, what are you gonna do?
I mean that's even with FRC with the Rev PDH. I've seen posts on Chief Delphi and Facebook and on some of the Discords like, hey, does anyone have like a spare PDH that they're willing to part with? I'm like, good luck. Unless if you find a team that's folding, you're not going to find one.
Well, and the chances are, if they're folding, they didn't buy one this past year, is my guess. So I could be wrong. I mean, teams do strange things, but like, my recommendation in general is get what you can while you can, because it's gonna go on for at least another year and a half, if not longer. So
for sure.
There were some other cool suggestions in that thread too, just simple stuff around tools, and there were a couple of, I think, fittings and parts that, I don't know, I think people want to see more nuts and bolts included. I was surprised by that a little bit. I don't know.
I'd like to see that, to be honest. That's how we fasten our robots. We don't use rivets or anything like that. So like 1032 nuts and nylon lock nuts, I would love to see those.
Yeah, Alan had a lot of great suggestions. Although in
He
general,
always does.
Spectrum's got some lists, let me tell you.
Right. Yeah.
So,
all right. Well, if you didn't get a chance to take a look at the thread, I did just paste that link in chat. So thank you all for tuning into FRC Roundup. Special thanks to all those who clicked that follow button or stepped up to help fund with a Twitch subscription or donation this stream. Your support really helps us continue to make great content. Don't forget, you can watch FRC Roundup archived at youtube.com/first updates now and watch live Mondays after FRC recap during the competition season, or monthly now that we are in the off season. Thank you again, Marshall, to our guest for coming on today, and on behalf of our producer Tyler, my co-host Connor, and all fun correspondents, I'm Nick Jr., and thanks for watching. Good luck to any of the teams that may be competing in an off-season events before our next show. See you next time, same day, same time, where we take a look at what is going on with First Robotics on FRC Roundup. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks to Kettering University for their support of this video. Kettering University hosts 3 co-op employment fairs each year for incoming and current students. Participating in the co-op employment process at Kettering is a great way to begin turning robotics experience into a professional career to earn money towards graduating debt-free. If you are a senior, it's not too late to apply at kettering.edu/apply. Thanks to Stryker Careers for their support in this video. First alumni and mentors are making Stryker a top priority for their internships and careers. That's because Stryker knows that those in First are the leaders and innovators of tomorrow. If you want to help make the world a better place by creating life-saving medical devices and technology, get started at careers.stryker.com. Thanks for watching. If you want to join us for future fun streams, be sure to click the follow button and turn on the notification bell to know when we're live. Keep the conversation going and provide your input to our content. View archives and unique content at youtube.com/firstupdatesnow. Join our Discord at discord.gg/firstupdatesnow and check out Fun FTC on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, and First Updates Now on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter.